92.5 The River. It's Bob Stewart live in the River Music Hall with my special guest, PJ Harvey, is here. And of course, most people know she's been opening up for U2 and will continue to do that very same thing tomorrow and Saturday, June 8th and 9th, rounding out the last 2 of 4 sold-out shows at the Fleet Center. PJ Harvey's latest CD, which is her 6th, by the way, is called Stories from the City, Stories from the Sea. PJ Harvey, who likes to be called Polly Jean Harvey, which is a very pretty name. Welcome to the River Music Hall.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's really nice of you to come by. You must have such a busy schedule.
It has been very busy, this tour, actually. It's not been much time off, and there's a lot of overnight travel to the next venue. And this was my only day off in Boston, but I came in here instead.
Oh, well, we're very flattered. We're very flattered. You and I don't know. You probably don't remember. We had a chat.
I think I do. Yeah, I remember.
You were in Chicago.
Yes.
At the time.
Yeah.
So how the Boston audience has been for you? How the show's been going?
Great. Last 2 nights have been fantastic and very, very funny. I have to say, there's a lot of people that have come inside the heart, obviously, to see us play and are having a great time. There's kind of dance routines going on and everything while we're playing. And there's this group of about 10 guys that have me in stitches every night. One of them was dressed as a cow last night that completely disrupted my whole show because I couldn't sing a song for laughing.
Wow. So, and what was this person doing that was making...
He was jumping up and down, pointing at his udders.
Okay. I'm sorry I missed that. Now you've toured, you've headlined a tour. You know what headlining is all about. What are the differences from your point of view, between headlining your own tour and opening for such a huge act like U2?
It's entirely different. I'm very glad that I've chosen to do this because it's very humbling in a way. After playing headline shows for so long, being catapulted back into that situation where some nights the audience are going to be hostile, some nights they're just not going to care at all if you're playing, they're going to talk all over what you're doing. Other nights it can be just the opposite. People really seem to get into it. But it's just really reminding me not to ever take anything for granted. And you just got to go out there, and the crowd will only respond as to how well we play and how well I sing. And so that's actually made us all play really well, I think. And unless we all put 100% into it all the time, then you can lose the crowd at any time. So it's quite a discipline. It's a challenge.
Yeah, I heard about some of the audiences not being as receptive as they should because maybe they hadn't heard your music before. Yeah,
there's been a few, not that many. I can probably think just of 2 or 3 gigs over the last 2.5 months.
Good. That's good.
Where there's actually been booing going on during the set.
Yeah, because I heard that. I said,
go home.
No, that can't be. Yeah. Okay. And how the Boston audiences, I guess they're ranking pretty well. So.
They're amazing. They really are. And I'm thoroughly enjoying being here. It's been very funny every night. And I think for us on stage as well, things keep going wrong, which just it adds a different dimension to it. It's been a lot of fun. I keep falling over, or things like last night where I can't keep a straight face because of some of the audience, but it's all in the right spirit, I think.
You're entertaining each other. They're entertaining you, and you're entertaining.
Yeah, I'm certainly being entertained.
Now, I'm sure you've been asked this a bunch of times, but for those who don't know, tell us the story about how you got chosen to be the opening act for U2.
Well, basically, they just really liked my new record, and it was Bono actually himself that rang and said, could I knew them anyway. I'm managed by the same management, so I get to see them quite a lot, and they're friends, and I mean, they just asked me because they all liked the new album, and I think U2 are very much a band that they all have to make the decisions. They decide on everything together. So the fact that they all like one record was what led them to ask me to open for them.
What a compliment! That's a very high compliment. Well. You're going to do a couple of songs for us right now. So what are you going to do first of all?
I'm going to do a song called You Said Something, which is off the latest album.
It's a great song.
Yeah.
That's track 8, as I recall.
Yes, you know better than I do. Yeah.
Well, I enjoy the CD. from Stories from the City, Stories from the Sea.
Yeah.
So here's PJ Harvey live in the River Music Hall.
1 in the morning, watching the lights flash in Manhattan. I see 5 bridges, the Empire State Building, and you said something that I've never forgotten. We lean against railings, describing the colors, the smells of our homeland, acting like lovers. But how did we get here, to this point in living? I held my breath, you said something. I'm doing nothing wrong, riding in your car, the radio playing, we sing up to the 8th floor of a rooftop Manhattan. 1 in the morning, and you said something that I've never forgotten. When you said something, when you said something, you said something that was really important.
92.5 The River, our very special guest, live in the River Music Hall. It's PJ Harvey. Thank you for that. That sounded awesome.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, thank you.
It's the first time I've played that in a while. I get so used to letting my band play it for me, because I just sing on these songs and haven't really played them since we played the album, so I was frantically trying to remember this morning.
Oh, you'd never know. Now, we talked about this last time you spoke to us, and I thought this was kind of interesting. When you play, you and your band play in a large venue like the Fleet Center, you have to play a little differently because of the acoustics, I guess, of the place. Can you explain that?
Yeah, I mean, we're not used to playing in those kind of venues that hold 20,000 people, and the sound travels differently. It takes a number of seconds to reach the stage and the PA to travel to the back of the hall, and then for all the slapback to come back at us. And we've found that certain songs work better than others. Songs with more space in them and more clarity work better in those situations than really manic, grungy kind of songs. So it took us a while. In the first 2 or 3 weeks, we spent sort of looking for the songs that worked best, and we've kind of come up with a set now that works quite well.
And it would be different if you were playing in a smaller venue.
Yeah, in a smaller venue, I feel I can get away with a lot more intimate songs that are more shambolic, that are more fragile, all of those kind of things. But it's difficult in that large space. It's working better now that recently we've been having the TV screens on us as well, but we didn't at the beginning. But I think that does make quite a difference, because then even the people at the back can feel connected to what's going on.
Good point. I've always loved your music. Your songs are inventive and edgy and adventuresome and a lot of passion, and I love your lyrics. For those who don't know, there's one song on here. It says, "Put a pistol in my hand, You sing that. You have another song that is called Horses in My Dreams. Of course, you have Big Fish, Little Fish, Big Fish, Swimming in the Water, Come Right Here, and Bring Me My Daughter from that Down by the Water song that a lot of people know and love. Where do you get your songwriting ideas from?
Oh, everywhere, anywhere. It happens all the time. And I think just through observation, really. As a writer, I'm always got my creative antennae out, and I'm always absorbing what's going on around me. I think that I just try and be in the moment, and it might be as simple as a conversation that I have with someone, or it might be ideas may come from a photograph or books or films or just from keeping my eyes open and anything.
You really have an interesting array and mix of subject matter. I mean, a lot of people will just write about personal things, some people mainly political, and you just really sort of have the whole wide array of things.
I try very much to keep a balance on my writing. I think you can have too much of one thing and not enough of another. I think it's good. It's a challenge to try and write about a lot of different subject matter, and I do try and incorporate the things that are important in my life and that move me, and that's going to be emotional situations in relationships, and it's going to be what I see on the news, what's distressing me, what's going on in the world. So I think it's good to try and get all of that into song, because I think what I feel is what a large number of people feel, and to try and express that is the best way to kind of connect with other people that are listening.
It's art.
Yes, it is.
And well done. Is it a catharsis for you? Do you feel better after you write? And
No, people often ask that. They often ask if it's some kind of cathartic process. I've always said, no, it isn't really. I don't feel healed for having written songs. I feel like it's a way that I can express myself best. So in some ways it's a relief. It's like being able to say something you wanted to say for someone for ages but haven't allowed yourself to. But it's certainly not a healing process, and I'm not my own therapist by any means.
But it must feel good to sing the songs.
It's a relief, yeah. It's relief. It's sometimes satisfying, not always. Sometimes it can be frustrating. But it always feels like moving towards something that I'm trying to get to, if you like. I think as a writer, I always feel I'm trying to push myself into areas I haven't been to before, stretch myself and be as good as I possibly can at what I do. So, with every song and performance, that's what I'm aiming towards. And it doesn't always get there, but I try.
That's one of the things that really stands out about your music, at least from my standpoint, is that you do have that adventuresome spirit, which is always exciting and always comes through your music.
I think it's the most important thing for me as a person to try and maintain, is always to keep exploring and keep experimenting and trying whatever I want to try, because it's there in my heart, not because somebody else is trying to make me do something, or and I think that's all you can do. If you want to write music in an honest way, in an emotionally honest way, you've just got to follow your heart, and sometimes that's going to take you into territories that aren't particularly commercial or people don't particularly want to hear, but it's important to try it.
And at the end of the day, you can answer to yourself and feel good about it.
Yeah, because you know that you've not let yourself down.
Exactly, exactly. Well, I know you're going to do another song for us now. What are you going to do? I'm
going to attempt to play Good Fortune. I haven't played this for a while, so it should be interesting.
Oh, we're excited. PJ Harvey live in the River Music Hall.
Fortune off the top of a tall building, I'd rather done it with you. Your boy's smile, 5 in the morning, I looked into your eyes, I was really in love. In China
have all taken place. When we walked through Little Italy, I saw my reflection come right off your face. I paint pictures to remember. You're so beautiful to put into words. Like a gypsy, you dance in circles all around me and all over the world. And I feel like some bird of paradise, my bad fortune slipping away. And I feel the innocence of a child. Everybody's got something good to say. And I feel like some bird of paradise, my bad fortune slipping away. And I feel the innocence of a child. Everybody's got something good to say. So I take my good fortune and I fantasize of our leaving like some modern day gypsy landslide, like some modern day Bonnie and Clyde. On the run again, on the run again, on the run again, on the run again.
92.5 live in the River Music Hall. It's PJ Harvey, our very special guest, who, of course, is opening up for U2. Of course, the last two shows remaining at the Fleet Center. We talked about this last time briefly, and this really interested me. People should know that at one point you, I guess, had planned to be a sculptor or a sculptress. And I was just interested as to how things led up to you changing courses and going into music. What were the course of events that led up to that change?
Well, I'd always loved music. It was my first love. But when I was about 21, I was just thinking practically as well, and I didn't have any idea that I'd ever be able to make records or anything like that, although I was writing songs and playing in bands. So I was, my other big love is art and always has been. So I went to art college and I prepared to move on to do a degree in sculpture, and I had a place at St Martin's College in London to do that, and was all set to go there. And I thought I was going to really try and become known as an artist. I didn't particularly want to go into teaching or anything like that, but I knew I had a voice and something to say somewhere. I just needed the right outlet. So I thought it might have been through sculpture for a while. And then I was still at the time writing songs and playing in my band, and on the third ever show we did, and our first show in London, we were seen by a small record label there who signed us immediately.
And there was no turning back.
No, I mean, even during making the first record, I deferred my place at the college for a year because I thought I'll probably make one record and that'll be it, and then I'll go back to art college. And, and it never happened. I was picked up by Island Records, and I've been with them for the last 9 years now. So.
Yeah, it's a nice long run.
Yeah.
Now, you still do some sculpting, right?
I do. I still sculpt when I'm home. Obviously it's hard when you're on tour, and I tend to work with quite big materials, so I can't do it on the road. But I do a lot of drawing as well. I do a lot of life drawing when I'm at home, and mostly drawing and making little things as well, because I don't have a big enough house to make the stuff I'd like to.
And what kind of things do you sculpt?
It's mostly assembling found materials and with a mixture of stuff that's made. Sometimes I work in stone, sometimes I work in wood as well. My family are stonemasons.
Oh, okay.
So it kind of, it's easy for me to get hold of lumps of stone and have a go at those.
And you've also had some poetry published too.
Yeah, I've just started having some poetry published. I've been writing poetry for the last 4 or 5 years, seriously. And one day I would like to put a book together. Not yet. It's certainly not good enough yet. I'm quite a hard judge of my own stuff, and I know I'd like to wait until I think it's good enough. But it's a big interest of mine. I read a lot of poetry and work hard at it.
What does poetry do for you that songwriting doesn't do? I'm just curious.
In some ways, I find it it can encapsulate a world very quickly and very easily, and leave a lot unsaid. Sometimes I think songs can do that as well, and I think as a songwriter, I'm someone that does try and do that, leave things unsaid. You can work very minimally, but you can do that even more with poetry, I think, and there's more room for what isn't said to develop and you to find it, and it changes according to whoever's reading that poem. It's also less tied down. I still think that songs do need to have a certain amount of structure for them to work, as I like songs to work. I like a beginning, a middle, and an end. A verse and a chorus and a bridge, and I like that in songwriting. In poems, none of those rules apply really, so it's a lot freer.
Yeah. I never thought of that. Interesting. Well, I hope you do decide to publish your poetry. I'm sure it'll be very passionate, intriguing, expressive.
Thanks. I hope I'm confident enough to one day.
I hope so. I'm sure you will. So I guess tomorrow night and Saturday night, it's PJ Harvey opening up for U2 at the Fleet Center. PJ Harvey, Paula Jean Harvey, I want to thank you so much for coming here and spending some time with us today at the radio station. Really, really appreciate it, and your song sounded wonderful.
Thank you.
It was a delight to chat with you.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me. It's been good to come.
Well, you'll have to come back.
Okay.
Anytime. Let's hear it for PJ Harvey. And this is 92.5 The River.